Hey everybody, Derek back again. I'm here to bring you another video for our Walking Dead countdown to the season 5 premiere of Walking Dead. Today we are exactly 56 days away from our season premiere coming up. Getting very excited. We're getting closer each day as every day goes by. And tonight what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk about, The Walking Dead so far has lasted four full seasons, and it's been renewed for a fifth. And I have no doubt that Walking Dead will be able to go as long as it wants to go. The question is how far can this show go? And I read an article recently that talked about that they were planning on potentially writing seasons up to 12 seasons. That they had outlines ready for these seasons. And I wanted to go over my thoughts on that, basically seeing like, could Walking Dead last 12 seasons? And if so, how can they do that? So, just in case you guys aren't caught up with the series, it may contain spoilers as I may allude to various materials in the comics or in the TV show. So if you're not caught up on everything, please don't watch as there may be spoilers. Okay. Well, as you know, Walking Dead has lasted for 4 seasons so far. And if you want to compare about the comic books and the TV show, like where we're at right now, at this point we are around probably around 10 or 11, depending on how you're looking at things. They definitely moved into material from Volume 11 with the Hunters or slash Terminus. These individuals may be looked at as the Hunters. So you could argue that they're at that point, but they're also on the trip to Washington, so they might use some elements from Volume 10 as well as they are on their way. Now, Walking Dead has kind of followed along with the comics, but they haven't been side by side. It's not like Game of Thrones, where pretty much any death was pretty much recorded the same way, the storyline's pretty much the same way. There's a couple differences, but it's not the same thing. And I think that that's very important for Walking Dead, because if you have a story, if the comics and the TV show were exactly the same, I don't think we would have the popularity of Walking Dead that we do now. Knowing that there is that unknown, unpredictable nature behind it, we're able to watch it without, being, oh yeah, this is going to happen here and this is going to happen here, which maybe some people from Game of Thrones might do. And they're pretty much about halfway through the material that they have in the comics. And I always wondered, could they potentially run out of material and then not have as good of a storyline? And I think the answer to that is no. I think that they have the potential to really write great storylines without the assistance of the comics. We saw that in season 4 in particular, with the beginning half being about the virus that was killing people. And I thought that they did a pretty good job with that story arc. It was interesting. It was nice to see a different kind of challenge, because quite frankly, the material in between, like first going to Woodbury and them back at the prison, would be relatively boring material for television. It wouldn't really bring the same kind of story as it would when you read it. And that's the difference between reading something and watching something, is your attention span or your interest varies depending on where you're at. And if all they were doing was doing some of the things in the comic series at that point, it would have been a very boring season, in my opinion. So they've definitely shown that they have the ability to come up with lots of different storylines. And do I think that they would eventually run out? Well, yeah. I mean, any storyline is going to get too repetitive. But the thing is that The Walking Dead is always going to have various different avenues that they can go down. And that's just the thing about how a zombie apocalypse is. Things are changing all over the place. You have characters that are changing. You have the circumstances of their environment that are changing. The walkers might be changing. The villains may be changing. The way that things go are changing. And I feel like the show can definitely have storylines that last 12 seasons, in my opinion. I think that that is the case, yes. They've shown that they have the ability to write an interesting story. and I don't think that the walkers are going to get any less, dangerous. And I think that a lot of us have a lot of interest in what's going to come. Like we're hoping that they do make it to the Alexandria Safe Zone, that we do get to eventually see the Hilltop Colony, and that we can move into the Saviors storyline. Seeing Negan and all of them. Now the question is how are they going to pace that? And that's one of my questions and my issues maybe about having the show last 12 seasons is how are you going to pace it so that you don't go too far? And like that's what I wonder is, are we eventually going to get to like season 8 where they have no more comic book stories and they have to start from scratch? And that may very well be the case. I predict that they're probably going to get to Washington near the end of the season, but that we're not going to see that till maybe either the season finale potentially, or maybe an episode or two before that. Like I don't think we're going to get there very quickly, especially not with the way the season's going with the Terminus people that they have. But say you get to that point. Well, after that, you might have volume 14 where the walls come down and the walkers invade the Alexandria Safe Zone. But that could probably about get you to the halfway point of the fifth season. Oh, sorry, excuse me, the sixth season potentially. And then after that, you kind of have a little bit of trouble. Where are you just going to focus on them rebuilding, or are you going to introduce the Hilltop? So you may introduce the Hilltop, but then the Saviors may show up as early as season 7. It's possible to push them off until season 8, but it's very risky to do that, in my opinion, if you're looking at the pacing of the show and keeping it interesting. So they may get to a point where they're going to run out of storylines, but I think that if they have this planned out, then I think they have ideas to take it in a different direction and always making it interesting. So I think that yes, they do have the potential to do that. I think that Walking Dead could last 12 seasons or more, potentially. And you may see that The Walking Dead as a whole might last 20, 25 years, but in different markets. Like, we have the video game for The Walking Dead, the Telltale game, that might last for a little bit. You have the spin-off coming up, that might last for a little bit. I mean, you think about it. Like, the show CSI has been on for, approximately 15 years in various different avenues. Law & Order's been on ever since 1990. They still have that Special Victims Unit. You have NCIS, that's coming out with its third thing. It's still, even though it's different avenues, it's still the same brand. And they do have the potential to carry that on. So I think, yes, it's very possible that we may see Walking Dead around for many, many years to come. But I think that in regards to our specific, right now, Walking Dead TV show with Rick and the group, I do think that that has the potential. But the second issue about that is, how long do you have some of these actors? It's very easy when you're writing a comic book series. Characters aren't going to, just get up one day and go, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I kind of want to go star in this movie over here, just enjoy my life. No, Robert Kirkman has complete control over whether he continues the character or kills them or what. They don't walk off the page. But you may have an issue potentially with some of these actors and actresses. And what happens if they decide that they want to get up and start a different show? Like Andrew Lincoln may sit up one day and go, you know what, I don't want to play Rick anymore. And as I discussed in one of my earlier videos, I don't think the show can survive long without Rick. It might survive a season, maybe 2, but it certainly is not going to survive 5 or 6 years without Rick, in my opinion. I just don't think so. And if he gets up and leaves, or you get Norman Reedus leaving too early, you get Danai Gurira with Michonne leaving too early, Carl leaving too early, Chandler Riggs, you're going to have a big void that is going to be very, very hard to fill. And I just don't think that they can do it, quite frankly. Now, if you're able to get these actors to stick around on the show, if Andrew Lincoln wants to do this show for 12 years, I think that they can do it. It's really about the actors, in my opinion. Because I think that AMC is more than willing to let this go on. They've definitely profited off of it a lot. It's been a very good gamble for them. I think the writers have a lot of great ideas of the direction that they can take the show. I think that right now, again, it's about how are you going to pace it. And I think that if they pace it right, then you could have enough material for 12 seasons, but you have to pace it in a way that you're not skipping over. Like, I don't think we can have the Saviors in season 6. I don't think so, and still expect the show to last 12 seasons. I just don't think so. And again, If Andrew Lincoln wakes up one day and decides that the seventh season's it, well, then they're going to have a big problem trying to take it 5 more years without him. I don't think that they can. So, do I think that The Walking Dead can last 12 seasons or more? Absolutely, I do. And I hope it does. I mean, I'm a big fan of the show. I'm a big fan of the idea. And, we've seen that some individuals are willing to do the same thing year after year after year. I mean, it depends on the passion of the actor. It depends on, how are they, in the role. Maybe the money's an issue. I don't know. I mean, look at the past. You have James Arness, who played Matt Dillon on Gunsmoke for 20 straight years. And, you had Doc Milburn Stone playing Doc for all 20 of those years as well. Amanda Blake was on there for 19. And even if you want to look more in the present, you're thinking, well, the past was the past. Well, no, we still have that around today. George Ead on CSI, the Las Vegas, he's been on that show ever since the first year, so he's going to be on that show for 15 years. You have Mark Harmon, who has been Gibbs on NCIS. You have Michael Weatherly, who's been Tony on NCIS for 12 years. You have Polly Perrette, who's played Abby on the show for 12 years. I mean, you see that more and more. We're starting to have people that are satisfied with where they're at. And it was back then and it's now. And I think that if they can continue to set the standard for this show, if they can continue to make these actors passionate about it, that they enjoy themselves, that you treat them right, you treat them fairly, you see what they want as actors, I think you can have a show that will last 12 years or more with all of these actors going along with it, I think, honestly. And I don't want to forget David McCallum on NCIS, who also plays Ducky. He's been on the show for 12 years as well. I mean, like I said, I have a lot of examples that I could use from past and present that you can see as an example. And I think that if they do a good enough job, they can keep these actors on board, and we will see a show that has 12 or more seasons, and it will be very successful all the way. I really think they can do it, and I hope they do it. I honestly do. I love Walking Dead. I'm in it for the long haul, and I believe that a lot of fans out there are as well. I think AMC's in it for the long haul, and I really think that the writers and the actors are in it for the long haul. And I hope that they can keep it all together, and we see a very good show. I'm very excited. So I want to thank everybody again. Please subscribe for more. If you guys have any questions or comments that you want to leave, please leave them. I appreciate any that have been left so far. You guys have very good thoughts, very good information, and I'm definitely happy that some of you have shared your opinion, so feel free to do so. And I just wanted to let anybody know, if you're a Sons of Anarchy fan out there, tomorrow I will have access to my DVDs, so I will start watching them. I will start doing my review videos on that soon. So I want to thank everybody again, and I really hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.